There is some really important things that you need to know about when you're doing this, which relate to your OS. Because we are slaved in essence off of Ableton's audio engine, any fluctuations that you get in Ableton's audio engine will also affect our clock. We're not a dedicated sync box that's getting an audio signal, which is an awesome system to send clock out. I mean, it's very, very stable, but of course it's expensive. You need an extra output, etc., etc. You can get plug-in based MIDI clock to be extremely stable, but the big but, your system needs to be set up to be quite smooth with how it is working. So let me show you the tweaks that I highly recommend you do to your Mac, not only to use OmniClock, but in general, because it just makes such a difference for how fast your machine performs and how accurate it can be for outputting its audio and its clock signals also. So here we go. I'm in the Mac preferences. I'm always 1 or 2 OSs behind and never go to the newest OS. First things first. Notifications, switch off everything. You don't need notifications when you're making music. It'll just pop up, do weird stuff. It'll distract you. It may try to take you off to Instagram or some other thing. The only exception I make is my virus scanner, because obviously I don't want to send anyone viruses with the products we release. So that's the only thing that is allowed to notify me. If someone connects a USB stick that's infected with something or other, I want to know immediately. The other very important tweak, do not please have your system sounds going to your main audio interface. As you can see, this is going to the Mac Pro speakers, that's fine. And my output and input is not going to my Quantum audio interface. It's going to a separate audio interface so that there is no kind of two processes addressing the same sound card while I'm trying to make music and sending clock signals and all these things. So very, very important little detail. I know on Macs we're kind of spoiled and usually this stuff doesn't cost too much trouble, but if you're experiencing fluctuations in MIDI clocking from OmniClock, these are the tweaks that I would highly recommend you to do. I switched off all of this like user interface sounds. You don't need them. Really, you definitely don't need them. Focus mode, I would absolutely set it to not disturb. I have mine on from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. just while I'm working, while I'm in the studio. I don't want little things to pop into my screen, also for CPU performance, so it's just off. I should probably make one here that's like music and tune it on some way, but yeah, in any case, this works. Obviously, software update, I would always switch that to off. Don't let your system upgrade itself. Beta updates, no way. Just try to, whatever OS you're running right now that's stable, I would stick to that, except for the security updates. Now, this is a big one. Login items. Disable as much as you can here of stuff that you don't absolutely need. I have a couple of things here. This is related to my sound card. This is related to my mouse. This is like a network monitor. This is related to my mouse. This is related to my mouse, so I can show you guys better what I'm doing. Better Touch Tool is related to why my Windows snap like it is a Windows machine, which I find incredibly useful. This is to set up my displays, and this Al Dente protects my battery so that it doesn't get fried and it has a longer life. That's the only things I allow to open at login. And as you can see, I have a ton of stuff that would love to be in the background, guzzling on CPU performance, switched off. I only have the stuff on that I absolutely need for music production. And sometimes if I'll open up an Arturia control download software now, it'll complain that something's missing. I'll switch it on for that and switch it back off again. So reduce the amount of stuff that can run in the background of your machine as much as possible, because it will give you a more stable performance. But yeah, if it's related to your music, leave it on. Exception that I make is my virus scanner. I have no idea why all these icons are missing. I don't really care. As long as it's working, it's working. Yeah, Time Machine, don't let it run automatic backups in the middle of your sessions. I prefer to just do it manually when it's needed, maybe every month or two. I'll do something like that. Displays is important. As you can see, my screensaver settings are set to never. But all of these screensaver settings, which will sometimes, like sometimes you're tweaking a synth and all of a sudden all your screensavers go on, that stuff will tax your CPU. So they're all set to off. All this other stuff you can kind of see how I've done it. The only thing I've left on is that my password should go on after an hour. But I usually lock my computer when I walk away from it. It's something that I picked up or kind of got burned into my EEPROM after working in corporate. Battery is important. Always set everything to run on high power. If you're on stage and for some reason, I don't know, your laptop thing gets disconnected, your charger, just if it's running on high power, nothing will change from a CPU perspective. If you set this to be low power, you'll be in trouble because it'll all of a sudden start throttling your CPUs, right? And then there is another important thing here to do, in my case, because it's an older OS, with your user, and that is to do with iCloud. Switch all of this iCloud stuff off because it's basically trying to push stuff to and from the cloud all the time. It's eating up CPU. You don't need it. You don't want it. Switch that stuff off. Nothing good will come of it. That's really the most important things. And if you want to really know and have a better overview of what's going on, go to your activity monitor and have a look at the most CPU heavy processes. Here you can see live running. There's a couple of things running here, but there isn't like all this other stuff that I don't want, like Chrome Updater and like Native Instruments Updater, all of that kind of stuff. I don't want that stuff running when I go into a music session, especially not if I want to have stable MIDI clock from OmniClock. So as you can see, this makes a huge difference to reduce this to the max so that you have clean settings in the background of your production session. Okay, so also just so that you see that this also really works with a full session and not just with like an empty blank demo project, I do always want to be super fair in what I show you guys. I've raised my buffer to 128 because my computer doesn't run a full production project at 32. 128 I can get away with if the project's not too crazy, so let's have a listen. And I also have my CPU overload indicator set to current, not average. Current is more jumpy and it'll warn me very quickly if anything weird. It basically warns me whenever I start the DAW, and then I reset it, and then after that I know I have to watch it. So here everything's cool. From here on in we're cruising. I've again selected the digitone. Let's bring it in. As you can hear, it's very stable. It hasn't missed a beat or drifted. But yeah, even in a full production session with a ton of stuff going on and running OBS, capturing all of this with cameras and 4K video streams everywhere, it's no problem if your computer is set up well. Yeah, as you can see, there is a ton of stuff loaded in this project. So I hope this has given you a good overview of OmniClock. I know that setting up your computer this way is a bit of a pain in the butt, but your CPU and your Ableton sessions and your load times will massively thank you for it. Once you remove all this dead weight from your computer, it gets so much more snappy and it's so much more fun to work with. On PC, there is like various guides on the internet of all the stuff that you have to switch off to get it to perform well for audio. I've done it on Windows XP the last time. I've honestly forgotten, and I'm kind of glad I have. But I'm sure if you're on a PC, you know there are certain things you need to do in order to fix these things, like switching off system audio is one of the key things, for example. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't help you with that right now because I turned my back on PCs a very long time ago. However, our developer does have a PC. This is tested also stable on PC, but please make sure that you have your PC optimized for audio output. What I can highly recommend is having one partition for internet use, for all the stuff that you need to do for having everything up and running, and one partition or a user login in the case of a Mac that's like reduced and just for music production. Then you will be a very happy camper and you will get the most from your machine. Like if your CPU is moving wildly while you're stopped, that means there's stuff going on in the background that you don't want to be happening. So watch out for that. So yes, I hope that this has been a good overview of how to set all this stuff up, how it all kind of works together, with some caveats like the Akai MPC not responding to shuffle and some other machines here. You know, we're still digging into this, but yeah, this is early days. We've just launched this. There is no product on the market that does even half of what we do. So this will definitely also continue to improve and get better with time. We're already looking at how we can bring this shuffle workflow to plugins only without going the way of sending clock to external sequencers and then sending its MIDI notes to a plugin. That right now would be a workaround, but a little bit tedious if you just want to trigger a drum plugin or something. So give us some time to work on that. We're on the case. And in any case, I hope this video will help you get going and get the best performance from all of your slave devices running off of OmniClock. All right, we hope you enjoy it. Take it easy. Have a good one. Bye-bye.